Good evening, Facebook, YouTube, Daily Motion, and Twitter. This is Rich again, back for your third and final video blog of the night for Friday, March 6, 2015, around 8:39 p.m. in Billerica, Massachusetts. It's about 12 degrees outside. Going to be another cold night tonight. It's supposed to go into single digits, but tomorrow we're going to be above freezing. Some news to report. The Miami Marlins beat the Boston Red Sox by a score of 5-3 in spring training action. The Seattle Seahawks re-signed running back Sean Lynch to a one-year contract extension worth $11 million. And I recommend you watch Wicked Bites on the New England Sports Network. Every new episode Saturday at 9:30 in the morning, hosted by Pat Whitley, who's a longtime radio host in Boston. And Wicked Bites, it's a restaurant show, which they go to different restaurants across the Boston area and in New Hampshire and Rhode Island. And I was watching this week's episode. They were talking about hot dogs, fried chicken, and steak. And that's about it on the news. My third and final video blog subject of the night is my personality profile. Tonight's personality profile is the continuation of this week's theme, alternating with Toronto Maple Leafs and Toronto Blue Jays players. And tonight I have, as my personality profile, one of the most famous players in Blue Jays history, Carlos Delgado, catcher, first baseman. Carlos played the majority of his career with the Blue Jays, and he also played with the Marlins and the Mets. He holds a lot of Blue Jays offensive records. Carlos was born and he grew up in Aguan Aldido, Puerto Rico, and he played baseball in high school, and he was a prominent baseball player in high school. In fact, a lot of major league teams scouted Carlos when he was in high school. The Cincinnati Reds, the Montreal Expos, the New York Mets, and the Texas Rangers. But he signed with the Toronto Blue Jays in 1988. This was before players outside of the United States did not get drafted in the baseball amateur draft that would happen in 1989, when they allowed players from outside the United States to be entered in the Major League Baseball amateur draft. Carlos played 5 seasons in the minor leagues as a catcher, and he made his major league debut with the Blue Jays on October 1st, 1993, and he actually got a World Series ring in 1993 when the Blue Jays won the World Series, even though he was not on the postseason roster. And Carlos played 12 seasons with the Blue Jays, and he was one of the most famous Blue Jays players of all time. 1994, he was on fire, and for offensive stuff, and he was originally a catcher, but they moved him to first base because to get his offense in the lineup, and he was very, very good. And he played in 2 All-Star games. He was 3 times Silver Slugger Award winner. 1 time he was the American League's most valuable, RBI champion. 13 times he had 20 or more home run seasons. In 2003, he hit 4 home runs in 1 game. 4 times he hit 100 RBI seasons. 2 times he was a 300 hitter. 5 times he scored 100 runs. And 2 times he was a top 5 MVP candidate on the ballot for the American League. He was first runner-up in 2000, second place. But the Blue Jays were not serious contenders to the American League East title during his tenure with the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays was constantly rebuilding and stuff, and that got Carlos Delgado mad and stuff. And by 2004, the Blue Jays could not afford to re-sign Carlos to a long-term extension contract because of financial difficulties. So he became a free agent, and he signed a 4-year contract with the Florida Marlins in the off-season of 2004-2005. But he only lasted 1 season with the Marlins, and he got traded to the New York Mets, and he still had offensive years putting up with the New York Mets into 2009 when he missed most of the season with serious hip troubles. The Mets released him. 2010, he tried to make a comeback to Major League Baseball, signing a minor league deal with the Boston Red Sox, and he played some games in Pawtucket, but he did not have he was still frequently hurt, and his offense wasn't great, so he asked to be released by the Paw Sox. And in August of 2010, Carlos Delgado retired from Major League Baseball, and his career stats is a .280 hitter. He 473 home runs, 1,517 RBIs, and 2,083 hits. He has the most home runs in Blue Jays history with 336, most RBIs with 1,058, and he holds several other offensive categories, most all time for the Toronto Blue Jays. And Carlos Delgado's number 25 is honored by the Blue Jays in that level of excellence, and he's a 2015 Canadian Baseball Hall of Famer. Usually the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame is for players who were Major League Baseball players who were born in Canada or had successful careers with the Montreal Expos or the Toronto Blue Jays. Carlos Delgado's name was on the 2015 Baseball Hall of Fame ballot, but he did not get the necessary 5% of the votes to stay in. A lot of people were very shocked because Carlos Delgado had some great numbers for the Hall of Fame, even some great numbers and some players in the Hall of Fame, but he only got 21 votes, which is less than 5%. He's permanently off the ballot unless the Veterans Committee continues to it. I think Carlos Delgado was a great hitter. Offensive numbers was outstanding, but he came too late to enjoy the Blue Jay success of the early 90s. He came in after their success has ended. But if the Blue Jays were like serious contenders or won World Series while Carlos Delgado was playing for them, he probably would be a Hall of Famer. And that's about it on him. And I hope you'll be enjoying these Facebook video blogs, Facebook friends, YouTube followers, Daily Motion, and Twitter. I have some masks on right now doing these things, colorful and stuff like that. It's something different to do for Facebook, and I hope you've been liking this. I'm getting positive feedback on these like video blogs I'm doing with different things. Maybe I'll keep it up. And plus I have my name on it now. I put it in graffiti all the times now. It's going to be my name on these video blogs. It's kind of a logo. What many people are doing for their videos, they're putting their own logo and stuff like that, like an identification bug, what they do for television shows and online stuff like that. Be back tomorrow. Facebook, YouTube, Daily Motion, and Twitter. 3 more video blogs. First video blog will be about the professional wrestling tag team, the Nasty Boys, Knobs and Sags. And then I'm going to talk about no-hitters and perfect games. No-hitters and perfect games are thrown by pitchers, and they're very hard to accomplish and stuff. I'll tell you stories about no-hitters, and the third and final video blog of the night will end the week of the theme week with the Toronto Blue Jays and the Toronto Maple Leafs players, and I'm going to talk about Hockey Hall of Famer and former Toronto Maple Leaf member Doug Gilmour. Next week's going to be college basketball for the personality profiles and more stuff, as Chuck Barris will say, who hosted The Gone Show. And maybe, just maybe, in April, Julie Button and Heidi Press video blogs. 2 cute blondes with nice legs and great smiles. Have a good night, everybody. See you tomorrow. And don't forget, one more thing. If you want me to plug anything or shout it out, private message me and it will get shouted out and plugged. Bye now.